the Shadow Rider and Ice Rider Calyrex League Battle decks are out, and they're awesome. If you're looking to get a great deck out of the box without having to make any sort of edits, these are the decks you want. And I have both of mine right here. I know they're in a Mewtwo and a Lucario box. It doesn't match, but they're fantastic investments. Love having them IRL and in PTCGO. But it got me thinking, what League Battle decks could possibly be next? I'm Jet from inthirdperson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's go and baselessly speculate on what League Battle decks could be in the future. So I think we've got to set some ground rules here. There definitely is a pattern to what the League Battle decks have become. When we have level 3 decks, they are kind of 3Vs, 3 VMAXs. I guess in the Scarlet and Violet era, it might be something similar. But for right now, let's say that a level 3 deck is 3Vs, 3 Maxes, and then with the level 2s, it is 2Vs, 2 VMAXs, right? So that's something to keep in mind when we're thinking about pre-made League Battle decks in the current format. Another thing to note is that after the Inteleon League Battle deck, they've kind of had a pattern of using older feature Pokemon from previous sets. So, for example, Shadow Rider and Ice Rider are the featured Pokemon in Chilling Reign, and the League Battle decks before that had the Urshifu ones. So these are the featured Pokemon in battle styles. I think this is a great place to start speculating on which ones are going to get the League Battle deck treatment in the future. So if we go to Evolving Skies, this one was a little weird because it didn't have just like 2 Pokemon straight up. It had Rayquaza VMAX, and theoretically, yes, you could put out a 2-2 or a 3-3 line of Rayquazas, throw a bunch of Flappies in there. It wasn't a particularly competitive deck. This was one of the most hyped decks going into its launch, and it's been kind of bad. So I don't necessarily see them doing that, as all of the decks they've had. I mean, I guess it's debatable whether this is worse than a Single Strike. At least Single Strike had a run with Umbreon. I'm not holding my breath for a Rayquaza VMAX League Battle deck. Another one from Evolving Skies, because yeah, see, it's usually like 2 feature Pokemon, but Evolving Skies was Rayquaza and all of the evolutions. And I don't think any of these individually work. Yes, Umbreon kind of had a run with with Single Strike Urshifu. Jolteon definitely had a run, but we also have to think about rotation as well. And like after the last rotation, Manaphy showed up and then kind of made this terrible. And then also have to think about the Inteleon line going into the next rotation when the next League Battle decks are presumably coming out. A lot of these decks wouldn't function because a lot of them run with the Inteleon line or stuff that is rotating out. So I don't think it's any of these. I think Rayquaza has a better chance than any of the evolutions, but I don't think either of these are really going to make the cut. Going into Fusion Strike, we have Mew V Max, and Mew V Max would be a very tantalizing pick. I love playing the Mew V Max deck. Don't throw rocks at me, please. It's probably still, if I'm playing in a tournament or there are big stakes on the line, this is the deck I'm probably still going with because I'm the most comfortable with it. In recent times, its power level has kind of been brought down just by virtue of there being beefy 2 prize Pokemon and V-Stars. So it doesn't necessarily seem too outlandish to make a Mew V Max deck into a pre-made League Battle deck. However, I think the sticking point is if the current rules are 2 Vs and 2 V Maxes or 3 Vs, 3 V Maxes, what are you going to do with the Genesect? And I don't think that Mew V Max really works without the Genesect, and I cannot see the Pokemon Company making a League Battle deck with, I guess if they made it a level 3 and it had 2 Mew Vs, 2 Mew V Maxes, and 2 Genesects, maybe, but I wouldn't hold my breath for that. However, it's kind of partner Pokemon in the Fusion Strike set, Gengar VMAX. I think this is a prime candidate to get the League Battle deck treatment. You can put it in a 2/2 as a level 2 deck. You definitely could make it a 3/3. Most competitive Gengar decks, I mean, we haven't seen any in recent times, but Gengar at its peak was really only running 3/3 anyway, and you don't really need any other Pokemon V after that. Sure, it benefits from having an additional Crobat, but you could just throw, here's a bunch of Gengars, here's a bunch of Houndooms, throw some trainer cards in there, and you're good. So I could definitely see Gengar being a League Battle deck at some point in the future. Again, this is speculation. I have no insider information. I'm just hypothesizing because I thought it'd be fun to think about which League Battle decks would come next. All right, when we move on to the Brilliant Star set, we had Arceus and Charizard. Now, this is kind of a little weird. There's the Arceus Ultra Premium collection coming. There's an Arceus figure collection. They've printed Arceus a lot, but Arceus is a crazy good card. One of the greatest cards ever printed. Would they put it in a League Battle deck? Maybe. I mean, its best partner is the Inteleon line. That's rotating out, but is that even necessarily the end of the world? We have seen Arceus with Bibarel work really well, and I could see them doing that as a level 2 or level 3, and maybe it's not necessarily a fully formed deck in and of itself, but 2/2 Arceus is still pretty good to have, and it's not that hard to just throw some random Vs on top of it, and then you still have a good deck. So maybe. As for Charizard V-Star, I mean, like, I actually, as you've seen on the channel, I've covered this card. I think it's actually not bad, but to make a Charizard V-Star centric deck might be a little weird. I guess you throw in some of the Moltres, some Magma Basins, but I have a hard time seeing them releasing this as a League Battle deck based on the prior pedigree of the League Battle decks they put out before. I don't think Charizard by itself is necessarily good enough, but Charizard also sells like crazy, and maybe it would sell really well, and that's all they need. I'm not holding my breath. It could be a possibility, but I don't necessarily think it is League Battle deck material. So let's move over to Astral Radiance. Here is Dialga. I think Dialga is a prime candidate to get the League Battle deck treatment. If you're playing the Turbo version, if they're going to put the Celebrations Mews in there, Mew will still be around post-rotation. You could put in the Magnezones in there. I believe there's a card that charges Metal Energy in Lost Origin. At the time of this recording, Lost Origin isn't out yet. So there are other ways of attaching Metal Energy besides Metal Saucer. I guess you probably wouldn't want Mew if this is going to be post-rotation, because there won't be Metal Saucers. However, you can package a couple of Dialga V-Stars, throw in the Magnezones. Maybe it's the Blastoise. There are other engines that can get the 5 energy onto that Star Chronos. I could absolutely see the Pokemon Company putting Dialga V-Star into a deck, a Turbo, or into a League Battle deck. I guess, which also begs the question, is Palkia going to get, like, the Palkia going to get a League Battle deck? Maybe. I think the biggest consideration is, are they comfortable selling I don't know what the meta is going to be like 6 months to a year from now whenever they release the next set. Is Palkia still going to be as busted as it is right now? Maybe, maybe not. But incredibly strong card. Right now, it runs best with the Inteleon line, and the Inteleon line's going away presumably by the time the next round of League Battle decks comes out. So if there is a Palkia deck, it probably comes with some other engine. Maybe it's a Bibarel line, maybe it's the Mews, like the Turbo build. I would say this is a maybe. Palkia Dialga as a pair kind of seemed to make sense. I do have some questions on whether they give Palkia that sort of treatment. But yeah, this is a pretty good choice for League Battle deck. Though if they don't want to go with Palkia, there is another deck in there that I think would be another good choice. And that would be Darkrai V-Star. And at the time of this recording, Darkrai V-Star has kind of gotten a little hot in the, at least in the YouTube creator space. And this is a deck that can hit very hard, and you kind of get most of the deck without having any additional Vs. Like, yes, it would benefit from having Crobats. Yes, it would benefit from having Galarian Moltres V. I don't think this is a bad choice for a League Battle Deck option either, though. Yeah, I guess it depends. If they're gonna stick with here are the feature Pokemon from each set, then yeah, Palkia, Dialga. But if they're going to veer a little bit from that, which they have with the Inteleon one was by itself. I don't even know where that picture is anymore. Oh gosh, here. Yeah, maybe Darkrai gets its own standalone deck, and that wouldn't be a bad option either. I think there's a couple that I was spitballing, and I wrote these down on my phone. I don't have pictures for these, so I'm just gonna read them off my phone as potential options. Blissey V, I mean, it's still gonna be around. It doesn't really fit because Blissey V doesn't evolve, but maybe you make it a level 2 deck, you throw 4 Blissey Vs in there, and you just have this super tanky deck, throw in some Miltanks, and in theory that could work, even if it doesn't quite fit the current definition of what their League Battle decks are. Some other ones, Whimsicott. Maybe this one plays a little too weird and might not be strong enough as a standalone deck, but it did see some run earlier this year, and maybe that's something they consider. And if they can find and maybe it doesn't even matter if they find a good engine or not, but Hisuian Samurott might be a deck they consider. I still don't think we as a community have fully figured out what the Samurott deck is, but I think it could be an option if they don't go Darkrai. Though if they're not going to go Arceus, or if they're not going to go Dialga and Palkia, and they're not going to go Darkrai, like you're kind of going like deep into the weeds there if you're actually going to go with Samurott. So there you go. Those are kind of my thoughts on what could be the next League Battle decks, considering rotation, considering the limitations on the number of ultra rare cards they put into these sets. These are kind of my thoughts and my picks for what could be next. What do you think is going to be the next League Battle deck, or what do you want to see as a League Battle deck? Let me know in the comments, and I will, I'll respond as often as I can to all of the comments in there. Also, thank you to everybody who's been watching the Pokemon content on this channel, and just supporting the channel as a whole. I truly appreciate it. It's been quite the run this last month or so on YouTube, and I continue to be floored by your support, and I'm thankful, and I plan on continuing to make more videos because I like making content. I love the Pokemon trading card game, and I think there's so much more for us to talk about and cover in this space. So until next time, make sure, I guess we'll throw in a couple of final plugs. I stream live on Twitch, twitch.tv/inthirdperson. I usually stream Pokemon every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. But if you want to get the exact time, I post the schedule on all of the social media things, the YouTube or TikToks, Instagrams, Twitter, all that. And of course, check out my website, inthirdperson.com, for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. All right, I got to get out of here. Take care, homies, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.